They try to drown me. I can swim upstream so profoundly. I can stay calm in a dire situation. I'm at it every day, no time for a vacation. And I smell blood in the water. Everything I do, yeah, I do it for my daughters. Now I'm gonna shut your lips. It's time for a brand new episode of what? We talking jit, say what? We talking jit, say what? We talking jit, say what? We talking jit, said it's time for a brand new episode of Talking Jit.
All right, well, I don't even know what to expect. but this is awesome.
Yeah.
Let me just start it off by saying, are you about ready?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. Well, let me just start off by saying to all my listeners, I have no idea what's going on. Scott just hit me up in the Discord and said he has a story for the show. So I'm going in this completely blind, and I can't wait to hear what you have for us, Scott.
All right. I think it'll be good.
So what did you even call it? It was funny because we were actually talking about it at the gym today. We're like, how about that cliffhanger Scott left us off on? And then everyone accused me of messaging you right away and saying, don't tell everyone. I want to make them listen to the podcast. When really it was kind of the opposite. You were like,
no, that was me. Yeah.
So I'm honored you thought about me.
Oh yeah, definitely. Thought it might be a good place to tell it. It's been forever since it happened too. So
does anyone know about this or know what you're talking about, or is this like just
and everybody that was there, obviously, and a couple of my close friends.
All right, well, take the reins, bro. Let me know what you got for us.
Okay. I don't even know where would be the appropriate place to start this story.
What did you call it?
What's that?
What was the title of the story?
Oh, I you know what? To keep the fella anonymous, which there's a chance this guy's not even alive anymore, but still, he was an older gentleman, so I don't know. But I let's call him Grappling Tommy.
Okay,
Grappling Tommy.
Okay.
I was training over on the West Coast, in a gym. This was me and my friend had kind of traveled around the country, training at various places, New York and New Jersey for a while, and then we went over to the West Coast, and one of the gyms that we were training at, it's a gym that no longer exists, but I'm not gonna name it anyway, because plenty of people who would know what I'm talking about if I even mildly described it. So the gym on the West, and I'm relatively new there, not brand new, but I'm relatively new to the gym. And I'd come in and there was two older guys there, and I even took a picture with them in the starting, because it was a brown belt and a blue belt, and they were both probably in their 60s at least, so I was like, oh man, I hope I'm training like you guys, when I get older. So I took a picture with them, and one of them was Grappling Tommy, right? He was a coach, not a coach, a judge, for a pretty famous jiu-jitsu tournament that goes around. And after I get my gi on, I go onto the mats, and immediately one of the guys from the gym kind of grabs me around the shoulder, and he's like, "Oh, Scott wants to roll with you, Tommy." This is Grappling Tommy. And I'm already kind of suspicious, because there's a couple of them over in the corner, and they're kind of giggling. Well, so I go to start rolling with this gentleman, and he's good. He's a brown belt. He's a legitimate brown belt. And I'm still a white belt at this point. This was forever ago. So um, not only is he a legitimate brown belt with really good fundamentals and pressure and all that, but I'm a white belt. So he pretty easily was able to work his game, and he gets to the north-south position. And it's a little lower than, he's a little higher, I guess would be he's a little higher on the north-south than I've seen people go. It was a bit uncomfortable, but not as much as the next step, where he had his elbows like flared out, and he just grabbed both of my butt cheeks, just firm, and immediately it's not jiu-jitsu anymore. I'm freaking out. My legs start flailing, like I've never had that reaction to anything, but I've also never had a dude firmly grab both of my butt cheeks like that. And it was clear, it was not about jiu-jitsu anymore. So I'm freaking out. I'm kind of, as this is all kind of,
Is
all
there
the whole realization. Go ahead,
in the
sorry.
gym? No, is
This
it?
is, yeah, this is, there's a ton of people. There's a ton
Okay.
there's a ton of people. And it's kind of, as I'm like, this whole realization is like coming over me that there's nothing like, even a technical, like even if I was more technical than I was, which I wasn't, I don't think I would be able to escape this weird position that he invented. And so I'm freaking out, and I happen to look up, and I see like all the dudes who were sitting in the corner just laughing hysterically, like gasping for air, laughing. And I kind of realized all at once that he did it to all of them as well too. And their response was, we got to get the next dude. Whoever comes in, whoever's next. It was like an open mat. That's what it was, an open mat. So people were just kind of showing up whenever. So I don't know if I'm embarrassed by my response, but my immediate response was also, all right, I got to get the next dude as well too. So I'm like, whoever, I go over there and I'm like, oh, you motherfuckers. And they're laughing and kind of telling me, about their whole thing. And I'm like, well, obviously you got to let me do it to the next guy, right? And they're like, oh yeah, for sure. We're all sitting there. And one of my friends walks in like right after me. And I'm like, oh shit, this is perfect. I do the same. I do the exact same thing. Grab him around the shoulder. Hey, Grapple Tommy over there wants to roll with you. They get to it. Same exact scenario. He goes right to north-south, butt cheeks, grabbing on the butt cheeks. And the guy looks at us in horror as we're hysterically laughing. And I kind of came to the realization, right, that this guy may have invented the perfect way to travel across the country and grab dudes' butts without consent, right? And not only was it successful, but he would have people set it up, right? After he did it to the first guy, that first guy's gonna laugh, make it happen to other people. It was all dudes, like that's that was his interest. It seemed anyway, is dudes. But he traveled. He definitely, because this was a traveling tournament, and it's pretty much going on all the time. Since he was, man, I want to say he was the head judge. I want to say that he was the head referee or judge or whatever that
No,
role is.
no pun intended.
No, yeah. But he invented a way, and not only I've never seen since then a north-south position where there's a dude who grabs firmly onto another dude's butt cheeks. And I'm sure the reason is because it's that guy was not doing jiu-jitsu. That guy was grabbing dudes' butts, and he
So
got really good at it. He got like, it's almost admirable that somebody would spend that much time and effort on something. Like, how long does it take to get a brown belt, man? To be a legitimate brown belt? And this was a while ago when there was even more rare for somebody to have a brown belt or a black belt. So this guy spent 10 plus years perfecting the art of touching dudes' butts across the country. And
where was his head when he's doing this?
Like
was it
he
near your
started off, yes, he started off just like a normal north-south, but then he kind of scooted down to where it was an uncomfortable situation in every aspect. You know, he was kind of by, his forehead was kind of by a not good area, and his lower mid section, you know, his hips were also not in the greatest of areas. This is when he kind of like, you know, he was full into the whole like onto the butt grabbing thing, but like he couldn't get too far down because most of the guys were literally flailing at this point. Like most guys react, because I'll tell you what, I've never been oil checked in jiu-jitsu, but I imagine that would be the same reaction. You know, I'd have the same shocked kind of get me the fuck out of here, it's not even jiu-jitsu anymore reaction that I did with that dude. So people were flailing around. He had to have good control, and he went through the belts, man. So it's like I said, he had a legit technique.
So was he like close to nuts on your forehead for the
close to nuts on the forehead? Yeah, close to nuts on the forehead. And
so
I
almost
don't
like
know
69,
if
not even
exactly.
out
And I don't know at this point if it's like if he wasn't even in that great of a position to be holding it, because like I said, I had lost all semblance of like calmness, and we're doing jujitsu, we're like training. Like this dude is grabbing my butt cheeks like I've never had a man grab my butt cheeks before in my life. Like, so I was scared. Like it was a fight or flight, you know, and like I was like, I gotta get the fuck out of here, you know, like and I assume that's what went through everybody else's mind since they had the same reaction.
bro. What like how does it end? Like he squeezed your butt cheeks, and
uh,
you know what like my reaction would be is probably to
I
pull
you,
my hips off the floor, which would put my nuts closer to his face, which
I think it's all bad at that point. You
it's
know,
like a
I
check.
think, yeah, I don't. I think he probably would have enjoyed that, but like I don't know. I don't remember anything after that, because all I remember, you know, like in a horror movie, when like the person is about to get killed, kind of realizes they're in like they're in a really bad situation, and that music comes on, that's usually just like one note on the keyboard.
Yeah,
Like I was like, oh, I you know, there was no thought process. I was in shock from what's going on, and then immediately I look up and everybody's laughing at me. So I'm processing that whole scenario, that not only is this guy, his whole goal in grappling was touching butts, but like I got set up. And also, you know, I'd like to do it to the next person as well too. So I don't really remember what sort of grappling went on after that, because I all I remember is that scenario, that I looked up and people were laughing. I wasn't even really trying to. I was just like praying that the time would run out. I think that's the only thing that I remember.
in my head, I just picture a bunch of dudes sitting around watching some old dude, one guy after the next, like grabbing
I
their cheeks in a spot where they can't move.
All right, I gotta say, like, all right, the old, like, Herbert the pervert, like Family Guy dude, the guy you're picturing in your head right now is exactly what he looked like. It's exactly what he looked like.
Oh
He had
my!
like gray hair on the sides, like a wizard, you know, like a scary wizard.
You
And
want a popsicle?
yeah, 100%. He was that guy. I'll tell you what, gets a little deeper.
Did he have
We
Did he have like a line that he threw out there before he squeezed, or
no, he like, I think that was also one of the most shocking aspects of the whole thing, is I was trying to like go back in like In meeting him, the guy barely spoke, right? He introduced himself, said his name. That was pretty much it. And I think that kind of added to the whole, the way the dude looked, the way he was just stone-faced. Hi, Grapple Tommy, grab your butt cheeks. You know, it was a pretty quick transition, and he was stone-faced throughout all of it. So that definitely added to the whole thing.
You said it
But
gets deeper.
yeah, there's a reason for the name Grapple Tommy. He didn't introduce himself as that, but I don't even know what made. I was in a crazy gym full of crazy people. Like, it was, we were all kind of nuts. This was like probably 10 years ago, and I don't know how this person found him. But have you ever heard of the site FetLife before?
No.
Okay. Well, this was my first experience with it as well. But some of the other dudes at the gym were pretty familiar with it. And they find this guy, right? Under the screen name, under the username, Grapple Tommy. And he's standing there in his like official like uniform with the name of the tournament on it, like on his shorts and on his rash guard, talking about his interest is wrestling dudes. You know, like that yeah, so even if by some long shot, he was not very purposefully grabbing butt cheeks. Like it is 100%. It was 100% confirmed
In the
when we found him standing there in his little creepy grappling stance, standing there, ready to grab butt cheeks. But I want to say it even may have said that in his profile.
Oh my
Grabbing
God.
onto butt cheeks.
What,
Yeah.
What was this site?
FetLife.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a man, I don't know how to describe it. It's a like a Facebook, but more centered around people's kinks and stuff like that.
Okay.
And there's all sorts of.
Is it a dating site or is it like just like a social site?
Not necessarily, but people do meet on it. Like I do, you know, like I said, I don't know too much about it, but that I know that it's specifically geared towards less, I don't want to say less normal, just less out, you know, less popular than normal, you know,
Yeah.
less of the population takes part in some of these activities, you know. But like I said, it's like a kink website.
Scott, you were violated.
Huh?
You were violated.
Yeah, you know, like, and it's funny because I asked the guy, my closest friend that I kind of went across the country with today. I kind of told him that I might be telling this story on a podcast, and I'm like, you know, man, you know what's funny is it's like every time I tell that story, I laugh as well. Like it's a funny story. Like that would not be funny if that was like a dude doing that to chicks, right?
Right.
It's like, why is like I don't know, like assault on a dude, I guess would be the terms that they're using nowadays. Why is that funny? Why is that like, and even to the point where like I said, I laugh at it. I think it's hilarious. Like
Right.
I think that particular story is absolutely hilarious. Maybe it's like, you know, there was nobody really hurt in that scenario. We all kind of saw it for what it was, and then let the next guy fall for it as well too. So it's like it wasn't like nobody felt. You know what? I won't say that because I'll tell you what. I won't say I didn't feel violated because in the moment he grabbed on my butt cheeks, like my thought was like, do I like punch an old man? You know, like, and
Hell,
would this be
he's
justified? You know, can I say, yo, this dude firmly grabbed him onto my butt cheeks? It would kind of be my word versus his, you know, like.
dude.
So I did think about that for sure, But when I said my mind went away from jiu-jitsu, like I never in my life where, I was contemplating things. But secondly, I just wanted to get out of there.
Yeah. Well, if you ever need anyone to talk to, I'm here. But
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing, man. Grappling Tommy is
Mhm.
playing a dangerous game over here because he's gonna come across a guy who's not about it. I tell you what. And like it's all fun and games until you get the guy who
You know what, man? Like kind of analyzing this scenario. I think the guy may have the perfect scenario because I kind of squashed the whole idea right away of like, I gotta punch this guy. I gotta, I gotta defend myself violently because the guy he was old back then. I would say like upper 60s at least. He was an old fella. It was obvious he had been doing it for forever, but there could have been a possibility where you hit this dude and he just crumpled and died, and then it turned into something different. Like, so I think that was almost protecting him. That
and then if you call the
this
cops, they're not gonna like do anything.
no, it would be just your word versus his, and it's like I don't think anybody took it that seriously to where we could say, all right, it was all six of us. He grabbed all of our butt cheek, like I don't I don't know if anybody took it that seriously.
And then now you
Like,
guys are all offenders because you're setting people up for it.
but like, I mean, he must have done this. I think maybe the first time he did this, it was a scenario like the same thing where the first dude was so like shocked and thrown off by it. He was just like, all right, I'm gonna get somebody else though. I'm gonna be like, hey, he wants to roll. And he essentially found this way to just get never ending butts to grab, So it's like I think it just worked great for him the entire time. Because of the whole being old, he was a brown belt when not many people were a brown belt. Like
Well,
like kind of a respectable dude if you just don't count the whole assault thing,
well, he put he put all of his talents to use. He played
Yeah.
a dangerous game because I'm pretty sure there's people in our gym who wouldn't like that.
No.
But
I don't think.
what a hustle,
I
man!
don't. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he devoted his whole life to the knowledge of of grappling, pretty much solely to do that. Pretty much solely to like
Then he
grab
decided
dudes' butts
taking
without their consent.
I'm taking these butts to the grave.
Yeah, absolutely. He was dude. He was so old. He probably died and nothing happened. But he was he was one of the most prolific butt touchers of probably of all time. Like how many gyms did he go to? How many times did he roll with some unsuspecting guy and just get a nice butt grab in there? Like I think he was successful a lot of the times.
Man, if and you had a good point. I mean, I was thinking that at the same time too. I'm like, did he do this to any girls? Because that's kind of fucked up. Um,
I I
and I wonder
I
how
think
girls
that would have
feel.
been an immediate response. If he did it to a girl, I'm pretty sure there would have been an immediate response because there's like there's like a power dynamic in that, like
Yeah,
like especially him being a brown belt, like there's a whole thing in that. So I think that would have ended his butt touching saga right there.
but
I don't think he was, yeah, I don't think he was ever brave enough
the
to,
chronicle, the ass grabber.
yeah, yeah.
He turned north south into 69.
Yeah, yeah, he sure did. He sure
Oh
did.
God.
Legitimately.
Well, I mean, that's great. I want to
Yep.
know. This is good for people to let us know what they think below. Is this fucked up? Is this a good hustle, or is it is this
You know,
assault on a dude?
I'm kind of on the line too, because it's like it didn't. I don't look back at it as like some sort of thing that I'm damaged about. Like I hate to say how funny I thought it was. Right as soon as I looked up and saw that I got set up, as soon as I looked up and everybody's gasping for air, doubled over laughing, like I wanted to laugh with them as well too. Not in that situation because he was still firm. But after that, after the roll, the only thing I could really think of is like, wow, I want to see this from the other side. I want to, I want to see the shock come over the person's face, and then the realization looks up, we're laughing, like, oh, you fucks, you set me up. And it literally worked out so perfectly that I just think that that's how it worked out in every gym. That's how it worked out for him in every gym.
Let us know what you think down below. What side are you on? That's great.
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't know.
And I think one of the big shocks for me was I had just come, from training down here where all I knew of jiu-jitsu was it was still, somewhat newer, 10 years ago or so. And
Yeah, man.
there was a lot of respect, and then I went out to the West Coast and there was this weird kind of thing going on at the time where a lot of people were doing the American jiu-jitsu thing, so they were sort of bucking a lot of the norms and the rules and the respect. Nobody's bowing coming onto the mat, that sort of thing. But I didn't expect that sort of leap. I mean, it was a big change, it was a big change. When I first came to the gym, remember, I'm saying, I'm coming from, it's all respect, bowing to the masters, back to on the wall and all that stuff. It's all respect based. And then I go to the gym and the first interaction with the two coaches is one of the coaches, I'm having just kind of shooting the shit with one of them about jiu-jitsu and stuff and training there. And the other one comes by and he's got his hands full of stuff. And he's got shorts in his hand. And he drops one and he's like, oh, I'm sorry. Can you grab that for me? He says to the other coach. And the other coach grabs it for him and he rips a fart right in his face.
Oh my God.
So that's my first. I'm like, oh shit, okay, we're a little looser over here,
See, all I knew was back in 2009 is when I started. And I was at an MMA gym where the main coach was just a jiu-jitsu black belt. And again, that's when the shit was rare.
Yeah.
And it was the same thing, but I think it's because it was more of an MMA school that it was laid back. But
yeah,
when I left that team and I went to just a Gracie Baja just to learn jiu-jitsu, it was very like you said, you
very
had
different.
You had to get changed in the bathroom, or you had to walk in with your gi on. You had to bow. You had to be invited onto the mat. You had to be on time. If you're not on time, you do burpees, and it was very, very strict. And then coming from a MMA background, where you said everyone farts on the mats and shit, and kind of like our gym now,
just goofing around. Yeah,
kind of laid back. It's hilarious.
Yeah, I do prefer the whole laid back thing versus the super formal thing, but I do like that we still have a semblance of that. We're still pretty old school compared to some of the newer ones. I think over there, because of the specific area, there was crazy people coming in all the time, so crazy scenarios would happen just because of the area that they were in. They even had to put that there was a mat fee for people just showing up because of how much of a touristy area it was over there. And I remember the second month that I was there, some guy comes in with a full cast that went up to his knee almost, his shin down to his foot. I didn't know exactly. I guess his ankle was broken, right? But he also has those blue blocker giant blind person glasses on, and a cane, right? So he's coming in here looking like he's possibly blind with a broken ankle and a cane, and he's like, I'd like to come to class tonight. And I'm like, holy shit, that's why they can't just let anybody walk in here.
Okay.
That dude, I rolled with that guy, and he said it was his foot that was broken, because in his gym, they don't give up. So somebody just stomped on his foot in half guard until they broke it.
Oh my God.
Like, and I have no idea if that was true, if that guy was insane, but like, you know, that's the kind of people who just randomly wander in there.
I remember when
So
I
I
was
do.
when I was coaching at the gym, like I would do like noon class, and then I'd be like hanging around the gym all day waiting for the kids class. And you get these people that walk in at like random times of the day, and like I remember we're getting a few crazy ass people where I'm like, okay, man, like all right, man, take care.
I don't think there's any way to, in any sort of like martial arts gym, whether it be like traditional or like mixed martial arts, you know, grappling, anything like that, like there's no way to get away from the crazy people who are going to show up.
Yeah, I had this one kid one time, and it was me at the front desk. The lights were off in the gym, and I think there was someone else still there, like in the back, or someone was at Starbucks. But it was just me and the person like in the gym, like when he walked in, and I'm like literally, like I told you, the gym lights are off, and I didn't lock the door, and I'm just like sitting in the chair on my phone, kind of hidden. And he walked in, and he's like looking around, and then I'm like, "Can I help you?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm just trying to get some information. Like, when is your classes? How much does it cost?" That whole spiel. And then he's like, "Yeah, I come." He's like asking me how much. And I'm like, "Well, here's the deal. Like, I'll give you the schedule, but you're gonna have to call the professor because he likes to evaluate people before he tells them like what classes. Just it was kind of like his sales spiel, but at the same time, a way to keep people like retain people.
Definitely, yeah.
He's like he wants if he thinks you're ready, he'll put you in like a more advanced class, or he'll put you with advanced students. But if like there's a beginner level, no offense, but like let's get you up and rolling, make sure that you can handle full roles, you have enough technical whatever. And then he just cuts me off, and he's like, "Well, I'm more worried about like you guys," and I'm like, worried us like we're gonna hurt you or something. I'm like, everyone here is pretty relaxed, man. We all help each other. And he's like, "No, I think I want to say he said I came from a Krav Maga background." And he's
Yeah,
like,
that
we
makes sense.
we aim to kill, or we all kill shots or something like that. So I want to make sure you guys can handle me. And
I'm sure there's some legitimacy to that, you know, the Krav Maga thing that they use like eye gouges and all that stuff, but you know, you can't practice that stuff.
yeah,
So I don't know
that's
how
what
efficient you could be with that. But also on top of it, it's usually the crazy dudes that come in there with that spiel and that
I was thinking
they're
about.
worried that they'll hurt somebody else with
Wouldn't it
their
be?
incredible street fighting technique.
Yeah, I'm like, wouldn't it be your decision if you hurt somebody else? Like if you eye gouged me, that was your decision. Why are you worried about?
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like
exactly. You
it
don't
didn't-
have nobody forced you to do that, right? Like,
he gave off the impression of a total bullshitter, to be honest. Like
yeah.
he probably never did Krav Maga. He's probably just I don't know. Like you said, one of them guys that walks in and I don't know.
hmm Yeah, well, there's no shortage of them for sure down here. Almost everywhere I've been, you know, there's no shortage of them. But I know that the gym, it
Or
doesn't matter what it is, it'll attract them. It'll attract the crazy dudes who want to
yeah,
dojo battle the owner of the place. You know, like it's fucking the 1990s karate movie. You know, like
yeah, for blood sport.
exactly.
I'll tell you, I probably won't say it on the podcast just because it would too closely the person would know I'm
Yeah,
talking.
they'd be able to figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'll tell you in Discord this weekend about like not very similar, but like a awkward moment story. You'll just have to weekend if we're
Yeah.
voice because like I also have like kind of funny, but less like it was less set. It was more creepy. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
And I'll
Yeah,
tell you
this one was
who it is.
sort of creepy funny, especially when everybody was using it kind of like as a prank, but no one was hurt, right? So it's all fun and games.
Yeah, until that dude rips you a hernia.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, dude. I appreciate it. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, absolutely, brother.
We could do a full episode one day. Just let me know.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
I'm down for whatever. This is like
Uh,
inspired me to do like a jujitsu stories like section or whatever you want to call it.
yeah,
Like the jujitsu stories or chronicles.
I'll tell you what, I have from traveling all around the country. Like I have some other pretty silly stories involving some pretty notable people.
Ooh, let's
Yeah,
spill the tea.
yeah,
You can come up with aliases if you want.
yeah. I mean, one of them is not, one of them is like, it's not so bad. Just the person is very extremely well known.
Really, who?
Uh,
I'm already gonna
huh?
cut it. Like, wow,
Yeah.
that's there's a couple guys in our gym who do. I don't know if they do it anymore, but they used to just drop trout.
Hang dong. Oof. Yeah,
Drop
that's
like they go like instead of walking in the bathroom and changing, they would just like face the door and drop their pants. But one guy was older, so you could see his balls hanging from between his legs.
oh nice. Okay. The old bat wing. Yeah,
Yeah, old
not
bat
good.
like or the kill.
Yeah.
I don't even know what it's called, but yeah, you can
Yeah.
see the old coin
Yeah.
purse. Has his
Yeah.
God.
Oh man.
Oh my god. Well, hey, dude, I appreciate you doing this.
Oh yeah, yeah. Thank you, man. I appreciate you having me on.
I got a few things to do, and then
Yeah.
I'll hit you up tomorrow, or we'll bullshit in the Discord.
All right, brother. Yeah.
Later.
All right, you have a good night, man.
You too.
I think the podcast is fucking sick. If you're listening to it and you're like, I don't know if I want to listen to the next episode of this podcast, you're probably a bitch ass. You need to listen to the next episode of this podcast and keep listening to it. Because my friends down here are trying to make shit happen. And we're going to make some shit happen.